Hey everybody, welcome to Back Issues of Sal.
I'm Ethan.
I'm Ben.
I've been meaning to do this book. No. I'm very
I'm not
excited.
gonna lie to you.
No.
I never meant to do this.
No! And not for any reason other than it just was always under my radar. But we've gotten a lot of requests for it over the years, and it's great, so I'm happy to talk about it. And that's JLA The Nail from Alan Davis.
The Nail?
Yeah, The Nail. It is an Elseworld story from 1998.
Okay.
A summer Elseworlds blockbuster event, because Alan Davis was and still is today, a blockbuster artist.
Okay.
And it is everything I like about Elseworlds, Justice League, DC Comics, comic books in general. It's not the greatest thing in the world, but it doesn't have to be. It's not trying to be. It is a love letter. Someone wanted to make it, and DC was kind enough to make it happen.
To say like, okay, you can make
There's a lot
Bingo.
of characters on here.
It's everyone that Alan Davis would want to talk about. It started out as like a Justice League story. Like, here's this core thing, and then it just ballooned out because he's like, well, I mean, it's Elseworlds. I can kind of do whatever the hell I want. And it opens up a larger dialogue that I kind of want to have, which is about the Elseworlds banner being removed. We talk about every Elseworlds book we ever do. I'm like Justice League Last Ride, where it's like, that's an Elseworlds book, but they just didn't have the balls to resurrect the Elseworlds label and put it on the book.
Resurrecting it means that killing it would have been a mistake.
Right.
And
That's
it's not.
mission. DC Studios resurrected it. And now they're calling the movies that aren't in the cinematic universe they're building Elseworlds.
Well, maybe now they can't,
Now-
because the studio's like, no, we got to use that for movies. You can't use that
People
for
get
comics anymore.
confused.
Who's Mark Farmer?
Mark Farmer's the inker on this series.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no. When it's one person who writes and draws the story, they have more room to give it to the other people, like
Right.
the inkers.
I guess we'll throw the anchor on there.
Yeah, you know, why don't you?
People expect there to be two
Mark
names.
Farmer is a constant collaborator with Alan Davis, so it stands to reason they're kind of like partners now.
Yeah, they're like a duo.
They are a duo.
It's
Alan
true-o.
Davis. The poem is such that for want of a nail, the shoe was lost. For want of a shoe, the horse was lost. For want of a horse, the knight was lost. For want of a knight, the battle was lost. So it was a kingdom was lost, all for the want of a nail. The idea is it actually kind of encompasses what the Elseworlds label kind of is, which is like,
Yeah, an avalanche can start with one stone.
yes, one thing changes everything. So there you go.
It's like the butterfly effect.
Yes, yes, but in a more poetic sense.
Yeah.
And so in the conceit of this story is that the Kents, Jonathan and Martha, get a nail in their tire before they go out for the day.
Oh.
Oh.
And so they don't pick up Cal
Oh,
in
it's
the
much
baby
better than
rocket.
dying.
And they,
And
John,
they careen off a bridge.
yeah, they hit a nail and they hit a tree. That's what spawns the New 52, actually. John goes out to check the car from their farmhouse, and he's like, oh, yep, there's a nail in there, and while I run a farm and have a host of tools at my disposal, and sure, John Kent is capable and could replace the tire and still could find baby Cal on the side of the road, but then Martha's like, well, I can think of a couple of things we could do instead of going out for a Sunday drive, and he's like, ha ha, I like the way you think, Martha. Let's get the hell out of here, and then they bang. And so
Let's get blown like that tire.
so they go off. And so instead, you know, that's the end of Cal. I guess he just like dies of exposure. And that's like kind of the implication is that
Wait,
like,
Superman just dies in a rocket?
no, they don't even explain. They don't explain until later, like what actually happens
happens.
to baby Cal.
But
The
he's not
point
raised
is,
by the Kents.
The Kents don't find him, and so
Yeah.
that's the problem. And so as a result, there's no Superman, and that's it.
So it's what
Okay,
if?
the world
It
exists
is a
without
well, yeah, but
Superman.
Elseworlds is the same thing.
Yeah.
The DC universe rolls on, and so like Batman still exists, Wonder Woman still exists, and there's still a Justice League because of course there was still a Justice Society that to inspire them.
Right.
There were some concepts I had on this
Mm-hmm.
where I was just like, the nail. Is it like the nail in the coffin for DC?
Right.
Is it like when you're a hammer, everything looks like a nail?
Oh, yeah.
But I
mean,
like this.
I think that Davis is going to play with nail imagery. Like you could probably extrapolate all kinds of nail imagery from this story, and in fact, the nail does like come back at the end, but not John's tire nail, but you know the image of a nail and how the nail has changed from there. But yeah, no, I'm glad you're on board because it's actually a really fun story that does embrace fully the Elseworlds idea while also going farther than Elseworlds typically does. At this point, they had also played with the idea of Elseworlds being a little bigger than it had been. My exposure to Elseworlds were, you know, 48-page stories that are like, here's this, no time to really get into it. Sorry, the end.
It's a little longer. You're welcome.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little longer. It takes
Here's
way
a
too.
taste
Here's a taste of this idea.
this universe,
Yeah,
yeah.
like there's not a lot of time to really tell a story so much as there is just establishing what the universe is, and now it's over.
And it's gone.
Yeah. What are some things that change? Obviously, like the Daily Planet still exists. Perry White was born. Lois went to work there before Superman showed up.
But
So-
she died in an avalanche.
no. There is a Justice League, but they operate kind of very much outside of the law because superhumans have been demonized by the public. So there's this narrative report by Perry White,
Right.
who has now become like a capes and tights hating pundit. You know, he's like, boo! Because there's no Superman, Lex Luthor became mayor of Metropolis. And he's had all this influence and no one to be better than him next to him. And so everyone worships him because he's like moved money around to be, you know, to engage in all these programs that allow for Metropolis to thrive. And so things are going great for Metropolis, even though he is still like an asshole.
2 questions.
Go ahead.
1, does Lex Luthor still have hair?
Nope.
No.
Okay, so he went bald anyway.
Yes.
Yes.
And 2,
That's
they
weird.
elected a bald mayor.
Oh, yeah. Well, you know.
Fly on them.
Wow. A lot of our follically challenged viewers are going to be very disappointed to find out that you
No,
have a problem with
I
balding.
just love the idea that
Just
like,
so unrealistic.
Wow, he's just so angry because he's bald all the time, and
Yeah.
if only he had hair, that would fix all of his
Well,
I
problems.
that's the
never
thing.
liked that
Apparently
idea.
not.
No, I hate it, but let me tell you this. Lex loses his hair, at least pre-crisis, in a fire that he blames on Superman. Maybe he rescues himself from the fire and has no one else to blame for his hair loss but himself. And so
Maybe he learns a lesson and becomes a good guy.
he's not a good guy.
Fuck.
No, he doesn't.
No,
Straight up
he,
no.
no, he doesn't. But he is, because he, you know, because his father didn't hug him enough.
Right.
So he's still a douche. But he also did directly benefit Metropolis. And so as mayor, Metropolis is doing great, despite the fact that it's also a police state and run by like a private security force. Davis does some curious imagery for Lex Luthor. Later, Luthor will be hurt. He's going to get a head injury. And he's going to have like a blood spot that looks exactly like Gorbachev.
I was gonna say
What?
he's a little chunky in this.
Yeah, and sometimes he is. Like that's actually a holdover from like the post-crisis interpretation of Lex Luthor. But eventually he does like hit the gym and get more svelte. But
I don't know what it is, but something about like the animated series.
oh yeah,
Lex Luthor.
He's a little more built and yeah.
Like that power look.
Yeah.
He's got.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that's my Lex.
Animated series Superman is just like Batman the animated series in that it distills all the best parts of that character and that universe and gives you the ideal version of them. That Lex is dope AF. But yeah, no. So then, to cover up his like horrible scar, he'll put like a thing over it, just like Gorbachev. And I'm like, what is the Gorbachev? Like, what is that all about? What is this, Animal Farm? Like, there's no other analogs for like. There's no Reagan character in this story, nor does Ronald Reagan himself appear in the story either.
Right.
It's just kind of weird. So
It's too late for that.
but Gorbachev is in this, but only visually through
Yeah.
Lex Luthor.
Right. He did not
Yeah, it's
mirrored
just
in
that
any
he's
other
still
way.
vain.
Is Gorbachev?
No.
No,
No.
Lex Luthor is.
Yeah,
no,
but-
but like.
but why do they
then why
make
would you
him look
reference
like
it?
that?
Yeah.
It's just weird. It's a head scratcher, no pun intended. So Metropolis is doing well, and you know, Perry, fostered by Lex Luthor's anti-capes and tights sentiment, goes on the warpath against superheroes post JSA, because of course the JSA were human beings who just put on costumes and worked within the law to make things better. Plus, you know, they fought Nazis and stuff. Like, they were good people.
They had superpowers.
Yeah, but they were still humans. We're all xenophobic in
opposed
this
to-
story.
oh.
Aliens.
So like Martian Manhunter.
Yes.
Specifically.
Specifically him. He doesn't help. But also because people are all like wound up by the media who are demonizing powered people. They're like, oh, there's this Justice League running around. I love how when they do the news report about like, you know, the JSA was great, but then like things like Ragman showed up, like just scary shit that came out of the darkness and like chose to fight these secret wars with each other, no TM, lowercase letters, that their conflicts then spilled out into the daylight and became like our problems, and we saw how scary they could be. Wonder Woman showed up and she wore the colors of America because she was wearing them as a diplomat to visit the White House and then kept them because that's her outfit. But that's the story reason for why she looks like that despite not being from America.
Right.
But also it's used in this. They're kind of okay with Wonder Woman, but mostly because she's draped in the American flag. Like, they don't really talk about that specifically, and Davis mentions that he's like, I could have made this story even more simple in words and just kind of like let you kind of absorb the subtext, but people who like the written word and want this story to actually have like some kind of meaning would be annoyed, so I'll make it actually written for like both children.
Yeah, and like anyone could pick it up and enjoy it.
Anybody can enjoy it. It's for kids and adults, though it does get pretty extreme at times, and I don't know. I would definitely let any kid over the age of 9 read this story. I think they'd have a hard time following it for the most part, but it is one of those stories that like grows with you, and like I said, like there's some subtext in here. There's quite a bit of it actually. Davis really tries to like give this his magnum opus.
Yeah.
So
I like the it runs down really quick why these new heroes are no good.
Oh, well, like Aquaman declared himself the ruler of the ocean. They're like, excuse me? Also, you're like half human? Where's the other half from, you fish man? Martian Manhunter, scary-ass green guy. There's a human being who took a weapon from the stars and is part of like an intergalactic peacekeeping police force? That sounds vaguely fascist.
It is.
The only member of the Justice League we could get behind was Green Arrow, who was a human being who mastered our oldest weapon.
I think the oldest weapon is a rock you throw.
Yeah, but like
Or just
with no
hit someone
finesse.
with,
It shows
right.
you don't need necessarily skill to wield the rock, you know. But the bow and arrow,
Right,
there's
classic.
finesse
Right.
involved.
So they have no problem with the Flash?
Wonder Woman, the Atom, the Flash, no commentary.
No.
Then, but what about these others?
Well, 'cause-
and the others are really the problem.
Yeah, well, you know, like the
Aquaman,
Flash is a
Green
guy.
Lantern.
The
Yeah.
Atom is a guy.
Yeah, so it's
And-
like some of them are okay, but
Well, and even then they're scary. Like Flash is too fast. Atom, I don't even know where he is half the time.
I mean they are way more superpowered than their JSA.
Counterparts.
Counterparts.
Absolutely.
So,
yeah,
like-
the JSA is just like, hi, and what are your powers? I'm kind of strong for about an hour.
Yeah, I run fast, but like a person.
Like a car, which is new.
I was going to say, they should love Batman then.
No, he's scary AF. They're like,
Yep.
we don't even know if Batman's a person or not.
Yeah.
He might be a primordial beast, we don't know.
Yes.
Well, that's where I'm like, you're kind of reaching. You're like,
like-
this one's an alien. This one works for aliens. And Batman, what is his true nature? Alien or demon? I'm like,
Yeah.
no.
No, but like,
Dude. He's a dude.
Listen, this book came out in 1998, kind of prescient about like how the news would just extrapolate
Yes.
anything.
Yep. Well, because I mentioned it after those other things that are scary.
Yeah.
So like, also this one, but it sort of betrays how like hollow this argument is.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
like, no, he's just a dude wearing a mask, like the other guys that you just said were really great.
Yeah, yeah.
Of course, it's a hollow argument. They're trying to argue against superheroes who are helping save the day,
Right.
just without Superman.
But there are villains, and we didn't even know they existed until they started fighting these heroes.
Yeah.
Like, for as far as they're concerned, one begets the other, and it's
Right,
all
it's
part
all
of
they all deserve each
Well,
other.
and it might be part of a conspiracy.
Oh.
And Jeff Johns is like, I'm sorry, what? So, Green Arrow was part of the Justice League, but then the living android Amazo, who can take your powers and then basically reinterpret them, he just wrecks Ollie's day.
Oh.
It just completely ruins him as a person. And the Justice League is like, well, we need like a critical strategist on our team, even though like your arm is ripped off and like your face is bludgeoned in and your like legs don't work anymore. Like you are just like trapped in your own body and you could never wield a bow and arrow again. But like we could keep you on the team as like a strategist. And he's like, I'm not gonna be like a mascot, okay? And so he gets really bitter and angry and then becomes like, he's like, I used to be on the Justice League and those jackbooted fascists, you know, they just used me as like a figurehead. You know, they needed like a human being on their team to make them look good. But actually,
Oh no.
and so like he has gone completely off the rails. He is Perry's correspondent, like, and now former Justice Leaguer Green Arrow, Ollie Queen, and he's like, "Death those freaking superheroes!" And I love it because there's a moment where he's like spitting and freaking out and frothing in the mouth. His teeth are all gnarled and terrible, presumably from his, you know,
His fight.
I don't know how his fight with Amazo affected his ability to fight gingivitis, but in any case, he is like so upset. But they freeze the image on him like spitting and screaming, and they hold it on that for like more than 6 panels. Like throughout the entire series, like they're still like at his lowest point. They're like, let's really focus on Ollie's horrible looking visage. So
Yikes.
the League is watching this and they're like, oh my god, this is bad. This is really bad for morale and for our public image.
Yeah.
And so
Maybe we should hire a publicist.
and they do. So let's meet the Justice League. It's Green Lantern, it's Wonder Woman, it's Martian Manhunter, it's Aquaman, it's the Flash, and it's Batman, and it's Hawkwoman. Because Kater Hall, Hawkman, died in the Amazo fight.
Oh. Well, she's also an alien.
She is an alien. She's actually from Thanagar. And she's like, like she's barely on the team as it is. Like she's on the team, but she's like, I mean, like this planet is getting really xenophobic. Kind of want to leave.
But I also kind of want to wait for Carter to get like
Reincarnated.
reincarnated.
It doesn't come up. I want to be like, dude, Hawkwoman, like just wait a little longer, or maybe a terrible accident befalls you, and you eventually get reunited with him. Oh, and the Atom. I always forget about the Atom because he's so small and he's never in every scene. But they're all talking about this situation, and they're all kind of like finger pointing, but only like slightly. They're like, like Aquaman, you didn't help when you declared yourself the king of the ocean. And he's like, but I am the king of the ocean. And they're like,
I'm not going to apologize for that.
Right, but like how though? Like how is being on the Justice League and fighting criminals making you the king of the ocean? Like shut up.
It's not. It's the fact that I was born half Atlantean to the ruler of Atlantis.
That's right. That's his point. And they're like, okay, we'll table this discussion for now. Yeah,
she's Princess Diana. Are you challenging that?
That's exactly what he does. He's like, well, she's the one who's like always like bumping elbows at the White House, and she's like, okay. And Batman's like, look, everybody shut up.
Everybody shut up.
Yeah, and they're like, no, you shut up, Batman. Like, you're the worst of all. Because like, you're the one who's trying to perpetuate this myth that you're like an urban legend that comes out of the darkness and breaks people's bones. And also, you're on the Justice League, and we should trust you. Like, damn it, Batman. And he's like, all right, look. Like, everybody shut up. And so Green Lantern is like, look, we called the publicist. We need help. Please welcome Lois Lane.
Oh, my God.
And Lois Lane has a haircut that looks very similar, suspiciously similar to Terry Hatcher, because Lois and Clark, The New Adventures of Superman, had just ended around the time of this release. So, yeah, she looks exactly like her. And that's fine. No complaints here, because Terry Hatcher was arguably one of the best on-screen Lois Lanes of all time. So she's there. She's like, hi. And she's like an opponent. She used to work for the Daily Planet as a reporter. She actually, I think she still does. And I'll follow you around, and I will be unbiased, and I'll be cool. It's going to be fine.
You're not unbiased. They're supposed to spin things in your favor.
Yeah, and she's not going to do that. But like the Justice League has nothing to hide. They're like, we're cool.
Yeah, we don't need you to spin. We just need you to get the truth out there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So Dinah, a.k.a. Black Canary, who was with Ollie, and eventually his xenophobia and bitterness and rage got the better of their relationship. She runs the Outsiders, because Batman should run the Outsiders, but he's actually on the League, and because Superman's not on the League, it causes Batman to have to be on the League longer than he normally would be, so he's not running the Outsiders. It's not.
Never even heard of the Outsiders.
We don't really talk about the Outsiders because they're mostly on the fringe, as their name implies.
I guess that makes sense. So they have a book?
They did have a book. Oh. They have had books periodically, Black Lightning and Katana and so forth. And the book used to be called, by the way, Batman and the Outsiders. So, actually, Batman quits the League and he's like, screw you guys. I'm going to take a bunch of unknown heroes and I'm going to make them better than you. Bye. And so he forms the Outsiders. And
at first it was all a bunch of Robins. He's just like,
yeah, I need to diversify. So Dinah's in charge of the Outsiders, and they're just off doing their own thing. They also have characters like Geoforce and stuff like that. I'm just mentioning characters you'll see. And I love it because they also...
Who is Geoforce?
Geoforce is actually like a prince of his own country that's made up in the DC universe.
Oh.
Yeah. So the League's talking to Lois, and Lois is like, look, I'm going to be unbiased. And they're like, yeah, whatever. And she's like, hey, Batman, you got to like loosen up, man, because you are making things worse for everybody. Like,
you are scary looking.
Right. And
maybe you could smile once.
Never. And then he gets a ping because there's shit going down at Arkham Asylum, and he's like, I got to go. And the League is like, hey, do you want help? And he's like, no. No, I do not. But thank you.
We have people who would be very effective in helping you.
Yeah, Arkham Asylum is having a huge problem. Let's send literally any one of our guys. You know what? Flash is already there, and he stopped the problem.
You don't even have to go now.
Hey, I'm back.
Yay!
Yay, Flash!
That's what Flash would do. See, you don't need Superman. You got Flash.
Yeah, exactly.
You can fix any problem.
Hey, Batman, by the way, really quick, you're fired. Because we really don't need you.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, and then he joins Ollie and creates a new Outsiders. By the way, the problem at Arkham is started. We meet Catwoman, who gives herself up to the authorities, so she is sent to Arkham. But the attending doctor at Arkham, who also like fetishizes her, is like,
God.
yeah, you're not crazy. You're a thief who's themed. That
Right.
is not a crazy person.
Yeah, no, you're deliberately
yeah.
acting this way.
To get Batman's attention.
But I mean, if you want me to keep you here, I'm happy to do so.
Oh yeah, no, he has like photos of her, and she's like, "Where do those photos come from? Arkham's official photographer or your private stash?" And he's like, "Let's move on." And then there's a huge explosion, and Joker's like, "I got these 2 crazy armbands, and I'm gonna fuck up everybody's day." And that's what's going on.
What? Armbands?
Yeah, he's got these crazy powerful armbands that allow him to do all kinds of stuff. Also, he has like a flight belt that allows him to defy gravity. Doesn't come up until later, but I'm mentioning it now.
Oh. Okay. Where'd he get those?
I thought they were
Where'd he get
magical.
the-
It looks like
Indeed,
they're.
they're alien.
Oh.
Yeah.
Surprised they're not made out of crystals.
It does everything I want to see in superhero books, which is a bunch of people in colorful costumes with rippling muscles sitting around and talking to each other. And but I also understand how it could be fodder for a cynical, critical analysis of the ineffectuality of superheroes. And now they're all like standing around there in their big ostentatious outfits being like, "We're, the media's really mean to us. We should do something about this. We should hire a reporter to follow us around, talk about how great we are." And it's like, that's not
Also,
wrong.
who do things behind this? It could be Ra's al Ghul.
Yeah, that's very
Or
true.
Cobra. Maybe Sinestro's behind this.
They literally start workshopping who is smart enough to coordinate a smear campaign against heroes. And I'm like, if it started since the JSA, maybe it's not so much a conspiracy as it is an actual problem. But it is a conspiracy, though.
Maybe people just don't like you.
Yeah, maybe people just don't like you.
Yeah, maybe you're just not a likable person.
Yeah, no. I mean,
It's you.
right? This channel is a testament to that concept. I used to do all kinds of research about like, what are we doing wrong? What tags aren't we using? It's like, no, people just don't like the channel. I'm sorry. So, so they start to divide and conquer. They're like, all right, well, Flash and Adam, why don't you guys figure out like where our villains are? Check in on them, because and I love that they're like, oh yeah, no, why are we fighting them if Flash can just always bomb in on the villains at any point? But again, let's not pull too many threads on this. But Flash,
That's
and
always
Adam,
the case.
you guys
Yep.
go figure it. You check out the villains and see if like they know anything. Turn over any rocks. Wonder Woman's gonna go to the White House and see if like there's anything politically going on in terms of this conspiracy theory proliferation. And Aquaman's gonna go in the ocean. And Batman's like, and I'm gonna go fight my rogues gallery. Bye. And they're like, you sure you don't want any help? Because again, Flash could do that on the way. And he's like, no, I don't want any help. I have a bat family. So then he leaves. Green Lantern takes Lois and he's like, I'm gonna drop you off. And so he does. And,
Do they have a flying scene together?
oh yeah, of course. He's flying around in a bubble right now. And it's an opaque bubble where he can sense where they're going, but she can't see, so that she doesn't know where their headquarters is.
Ah,
Is this
that's
the
a good
moon?
idea.
No.
Okay.
No, it's like like a house.
It's just like someone's house
Apartment.
that looks kind of nice.
It does look kind of nice.
Yeah,
So
it's
without
big enough for
Superman's,
all.
ability to like be in space and all that kind of stuff, they're just like, no, we're not gonna have a watchtower on the moon.
It's just pre that. It's before that. Like it's set during like an oddly nebulous period in history where Batman has not had 5 Robins, but also maybe he's on like we don't even. Robin is in this book. We never get to find out which Robin it is.
Yeah, Batman just calls him Robin.
I think it's Dick Grayson. But to add more confusion to the mix, he's wearing his Dick Grayson outfit, but he has his Tim Drake R. And so I'm like, oh no! And
Well, it's Elseworlds.
exactly. It's
And that-
topsy-turvy.
If Superman never existed, then
Maybe
Robin,
he only had one Robin.
Well,
And
didn't one of the Robins like Superman?
yes,
And
it
so
was
does-
Dick.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, if you want to follow that thread of logic, like Dick Grayson idolized Superman. Nightwing was a Kryptonian superhero. Without the inspiration of Nightwing, Dick Grayson never stops being Robin.
Oh.
So he never has to replace him, which means Jason Todd never dies.
That's right. Or
right.
he
Well,
probably
or he
dies,
does.
but like on the street. Now, he probably ended up working with his dad for Two-Face and met an untimely demise. Or maybe Batman broke his bones and threw him into juvie. He was probably spared from a life of being beaten savagely by a clown in Ethiopia and then being blown up next to his biological mother in the desert. So anyway, Batman goes to Arkham and he is met. Oh, Commissioner Gordon was assassinated off panel in another Elseworlds.
What? Well,
That's
how does that
huge.
flow
How does
from
Superman
Batman?
affect that? I don't know.
Maybe there was some book that
There's no way that Davis
Alan
was like,
Davis
oh,
read where Superman saved.
okay, there is a possibility that Alan Davis was like, I have read a lot of comics. I haven't read every comic, but I've read a lot of comics, and those are the comic books that will inspire the universe. Like, everything that I have read will affect what happened here. And so he read a story where Superman one time saved Commissioner Gordon, and it was the only time that Commissioner Gordon's life was actually in any jeopardy.
Right.
And so
And therefore,
he died.
he died.
But Commissioner Bullock also is down for Batman, so like he facilitates Batman's arrival. Around Arkham is this like impenetrable bubble that nobody can get through, and Batgirl and Robin meet Batman at the scene, and they reveal that they can pass through the bubble without any incident.
Oh.
Huh.
Yeah, and they're like, and Batman's like, yeah, clearly this is like controlled by somebody, and that it allows certain biological signatures to go through, which includes us, which means they want us to go through, which means I'm benching you two. I don't want you going in there. I'm
Right.
going it alone.
That means it's a trap.
Exactly, which also saves Flash because he would have ran full tilt into that thing and would have exploded into a million pieces. So Batman goes through.
It's not invisible.
No, it's not. But yeah, Flash would be like, I'm more powerful.
Yeah, I could probably just burst right through.
There's a moment where he actually needs to vibrate his molecules to get into a building, and it's because Batman tells him like you can't go through this area. There's a shield, so he can't go through the shield, and he goes through the ground. And he's like, and he is winded and messed up because of how much time. I think he had to go through like miles of rock, and
jeez.
he went like from underground.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it would have really taken a lot out of him, and then he wouldn't be up to full speed, and he'd have to fight Joker, who's souped up with alien technology. So anyway, Batman goes in there, and Catwoman is like beaten up by Joker because Catwoman wanted to talk to Batman. That's why she was at Arkham in the first place. I believe the idea, and at least that's the subtext, is that she wanted to turn over a new leaf, or at least bang Batman. She is beaten up, and the villains are like having a great time, and Joker is just kind of like lording it over them. He's like, yeah, this is going great.
Look at me, I'm so powerful.
Yeah. Meanwhile,
Is it funny? Or is what you're doing funny?
he couldn't care less. This Joker is just like, I got power now. I don't need jokes and shit. Fuck you. Blah. So he's having a ball. He finds this humorous. Remember, he's very selective about his humor. He's a hypocrite. So Green Lantern, he gets a ping. He's trying to charge his ring, and he notices there's kind of like interference. Like he feels a little faint, and he's like, what's going on here? So he gets a ping that's like there's some crap going on in space. So he goes up to space.
I got some space stuff to deal with.
Yep, and so he heads up to space, and he bounces into another force field that has protected Earth. He can't leave, and by extension, no one can show up.
Huh.
And so when he gets there, Star Sapphire, who is his once and future girlfriend Carol Ferris, and she's like, hey, I cloned a signal and made up a thing to lure you here to show you that there's this thing in the way and no one can get through, and I don't know what's up, but we should bang. And he's like,
I feel like a phone call could have sufficed.
I feel like that's true. Well, that was basically like an intergalactic phone call. That's how we do things with our superpowers. So he's like, you're kind of like a bad guy. I don't think we should do that. And she's like, all right, bye. And so he's like, all right, well, let me like whip up a doohickey that will analyze what this thing is. And he gets a signal, and so he goes like around Earth, and he bumps into the corpse of Adam Strange, who, of course, is a spacefaring hero in as much as he is transported to the planet Rann via a Zeta beam that he was bombarded with. And after a certain amount of time, the Zeta beam wears off, and so he's sent between worlds. So like, he's a man of two worlds, and he's like, he can never stay on one place too long because the Zeta beam effects will wear off, and then he'll like disappear. Like he'll be having a cheese sandwich on Earth, and then oh no, and then in an opportune time he'll go back to Rann and be with his wife, and like say and being an adventurer. So
he's not really here?
Sometimes he's here, sometimes he's not. But in this case, the Zeta beam tried to send him to Rann and got stuck at the barrier, so he just died in the cold vacuum of space.
Oh.
And Green Lantern's like,
so the Zeta beam always like transports him between two locations.
yeah, it's like kind of like a digital pneumatic tube. Like it just sucks you, and you go really fast, I guess, or at least that's the presupposition of this idea.
Right.
So Green Lantern's like, okay, that was gross. And so he's like, I can't even communicate with Oa. So he tries really hard and he concentrates and he makes like a big like kind of Green Lantern energy emission that emanates, and he's like, hopefully the Guardians see this.
Like shining a light through space.
Yeah.
Sure.
Or really, no, it's more like shooting like a radio wave into space. Like it'll alert the Guardians because they're always like monitoring for Green Lantern signatures. And but there's also this thing in the way, so like it may have muffled it. So he's just kind of like, this is it. I have no way to do it. Plus, I guess there's like this kind of digital signal that goes from Oa to my battery so I can charge my ring. If it's not working, that explains the interference I was getting and that I'm going to start losing my charge. I will eventually be out of power. So, crap. That's going on. By the way, to wrap up that plot, the Guardians call every Green Lantern to Oa. Because on Apocalypse, that's right, I love it. I'm going to tell a little Justice League story about Superman. Anyway, in New Genesis and Apocalypse, Apocalypse gets a report that they had this huge problem where they were sending some parademons to Earth via a boom tube, but then this big goddamn barrier thing effed up the boom tube and sent feedback through the boom tube. There was like a burst of energy from where they were or where they were trying to boom tube on Earth that went blowback into the boom tube, and the place they were at was like essentially like a chemical weapons facility on Apocalypse that exploded. And so they're like, oh my God, I think the Earthlings may have attacked us and blown up our chemical weapons factory. And they've coincidentally captured both Big Barda and Mr. Miracle, and they're like, what's going on? They're like, nothing. We were here to rescue people from Granny Goodness, and we heard about it. No, that was a coincidence. And Darkseid's like, I'm pretty sure it wasn't. I think that it was actually a guerrilla warfare tactic from New Genesis, and so that's the smoking gun I need to declare war on New Genesis. And so a massive war between New Genesis and Apocalypse erupts. Oh, Metron shows up too to corroborate their story. He's like, it was an accident. And Darkseid's like, I'm pretty sure it wasn't. Omega Beam.
I don't believe you.
I choose not to believe you because I really just want to go for war.
Yeah.
And so he blasts Metron and then goes to war with them. And the Guardians
And somehow Superman would have stopped that too.
Well, he would have stopped the bubble from being put there in the first place.
Well, certainly Superman would not have allowed things to be as tumultuous as they seem to be right now.
Well, I assume the bubble was created by Lex Luthor or whatever to prevent aliens from getting to Earth.
Right,
He's putting a
exactly.
wall around.
Yeah.
So, but if Superman had been here, Lex never would have been able to do that.
Because he wouldn't have had the power and influence
Yeah,
that he
Superman
got
would
from
have
being
stopped him.
mayor of Metropolis.
Yeah.
That's interesting. That's not where I would have gone with that. I would assumed it still would have been somehow the gauntlets.
Though Joker's gauntlets?
Yeah.
No, Joker is very like
just like
localized.
another thing.
Yeah, Joker is another thing, which you'll see crystallize in a little bit.
Okay.
But while Darkseid is waging war against New Genesis, the Guardians call the rest of the Lantern Corps, and they're like, listen, normally we don't get involved in scrapes between New Genesis and Apocalypse, but this is kind of like all-out war, and I'm going to need all hands on deck to deal with this. Also, by the way, I heard the signal from Earth. Hal's effed. Good luck with that. We're going to have to deal with this.
We have other bigger problems.
Yes, and that's just, it's there to kind of go, boy, wouldn't that be neat to see? And also, gee, wouldn't any Green Lantern try and help Hal? Yes, they would, but they can't.
If not
Moving
for
on.
this bigger problem. Yeah.
This bigger, more interesting potential spin-off problem that would be awesome to see.
Yeah, if you like it, maybe we'll write a book about that.
And maybe they did. So,
Well, it's also kind of cool that like they're not just treating each of these properties like they're separate. They're
Yes.
treating them like the Green Lanterns are actually in the same universe as New Genesis.
Right.
Because wouldn't they care?
Yeah.
Like, wouldn't they get involved?
right.
Probably.
Yeah, and
None,
their story seemingly is unrelated to what's happening here. It's a big world.
Right.
No, Apocalypse is essentially like one of those places where it's just like, the cops don't go out there much.
Yes. So when everybody goes off to do their respective reconnaissance mission, you know, Flash goes to check out the villains.
Yeah.
And he goes to like each of their bases, and they're all ruined. Like Gorilla City is just devastated. All these areas are ruined. And last on his list is Ra's al Ghul, and he goes to deal with him, and I'll talk about that in a minute. While that's happening, Wonder Woman and J'onn Jones are chatting, and John's like, you know, like I look like a crazy alien. I look like this because I morph my body to look more palatable to people, but still retain some alien part of me. But I didn't realize that even that is such a problem for these people that it's making them like burn me in effigy and freak out and froth the mouth on national television. So maybe I should just like quit. And she's like, please don't. You're literally like Green Superman. I really need you on the team. And he's like, nah, and he turns invisible and he leaves.
He's like, couldn't you just make yourself look normal?
Well, she's like, that would be really problematic. Like, I'm not gonna ask you to just be normal looking. Also,
But it would really help.
It would help us out of a jam. Well, he explains that he can't necessarily do that for terribly long. He can maintain the Martian Manhunter appearance.
Right. He's like, it's hard enough to look this human.
Yes.
If I have to look even more human, it would just be too.
Well, it'd be like tensing a muscle all the time.
Can't he just make himself invisible all the time?
That's also
Is that
like
the same
tensing a
thing?
muscle. It's the same
Well,
thing.
then why don't you just like look like an alien more, and then you won't be so bitter about it.
Right.
If they're gonna hit you anyway.
Well, and that's the thing. So he turns invisible, he leaves, and he goes to his apartment as John Jones, and he just is an alien. So screw it. And so Flash goes to deal with Ra's al Ghul, who is under attack by Amazo. And Flash is like, oh crap. So he saves Ra's al Ghul and Talia and the League of Assassins from the Amazo robot, who, by the way, like one-shotted the Justice League. Like, he kills Hawkman, he immediately mops the floor with Green Arrow, and essentially says to the world, like, the Justice League can be beaten, has been beaten, and they're lame. And so Amazo is ruining the League of Assassins' day, and I love this moment because Flash is dealing with them, and then he's like, all right. And Amazo, who's like a sentient android, is like, I can take your powers, all I gotta do is touch you. And he's like, you won't. And then immediately vibrates his hand, goes through Amazo's body, and removes his brain.
Oh.
And
Wait, is it a robot brain?
yeah, it's a
Yeah,
robot
it's a
brain.
robot brain.
Okay,
But
just
it is
wanna
in
make
the
sure.
shape of a brain.
But it's shaped like a brain, though.
Yeah, well, you know, there's a special. The reason why our brains are shaped like that is so that they would work the way they do. And so, you know, when I made the robot brain
Right.
in the shape of a human brain, I cracked the code on how to make artificial intelligence. It doesn't matter. So, but I love Flash's explanation for doing that, like how he one-shots Amazo by being like, maybe I'm just tired. Maybe I'm just sick of dealing with it. Like, I don't know. You forced me to be this aggressive. Like,
Yeah.
yes, I easily could have killed Amazo in our first fight and saved the lives of my teammates, but I didn't. And maybe it's just because I'm just really tired.
Because I didn't want to be OP.
Right.
Yeah, I don't want to. I wasn't desperate enough.
Yeah, I don't want to kill people, but now that I think about it,
You're actually just a robot, so I'm not killing anybody.
yeah, I'm
So
kind of
then-
done with you.
So Ra's and Talia are like, thanks a lot, man. Listen, there is a conspiracy. There is a problem. There's somebody smart enough to be able to manipulate all this crap. Amazo's here wrecking us and taking supervillains off the table. And
Because
he's
we wouldn't go along with it, or
No, it's because like there is a move being made to purge the Earth of metahumans, essentially. Like
Is Ra's
whatever.
al Ghul a metahuman?
Well, he is able to access
'cause
the
he lives
Lazarus
too
pit.
long,
He lives
yeah.
too long. I mean, he
You're
runs.
too old.
Well, you're too old against the natural
You're too
order.
old to be
Does
left
Amazo
alive.
count?
No, well, Amazo is a tool because he's not really alive. But Ra's al Ghul also runs an illegal international spy and assassin organization, so I think
Right.
that also qualifies.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I-
the CIA.
We're
They're called
really
legal assassins.
stretching the definition of metahuman here
Yeah,
to
well,
scary places.
Listen, I mean, like, that's fair. And
Right.
that's part of that subtext we're talking
Yeah,
about. You know,
yeah.
like, hey, first they came for the other guys. and,
Right.
I didn't say anything. And then they came for the League of Assassins. It's like, whoa, I feel like League of Assassins qualifies. It's okay to go for them. But anyway, they're like, look, Flash, it's all crabbed. It's not going to go well. Why don't you just come with us? Listen, you saved our lives. We owe you. Come live with us. And he's like, no.
What?
I'm going to go save the day and
I'm
be a
Flash.
superhero.
Why would I ever do that?
It's a courtesy. They're being
Right.
charitable.
Right.
So they're like,
We're
all
You're
right,
gonna
one
send
of
the
us.
assassins
You're
after
like
you if you
a-
do.
well, you saved us. So
Yeah.
like, I owe what you people call a life debt.
Yay!
And they're
he
like,
said
What do you
it.
mean, you people?
Metahumans.
Oh,
It's,
I see.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So that happens. Meanwhile, Green Lantern goes to try and meet up with Jean and ask some questions, and he bumps into Jean in his like crazy alien form, and he's like, "Duh! I mean, hey!"
I think.
And Jean's like, I mean, you know, I'm unpalatable as a humanoid alien, so I guess I'll just be me, but okay. And so he transforms back into Martian Manhunter.
Sorry, man. I wasn't expecting
I wasn't
that.
prepared.
I wasn't ready.
I'm sorry. I have to steel myself with this kind of stuff. Look, I know that like I see a million types of aliens every day, but like it doesn't freak me. It's not like it doesn't freak me out every time. So, but he does also mention like, look, dude, like I don't care what you look like. You could look like that all the time. It'd actually be kind of rad. He doesn't
Yeah,
say that,
you
but
look
I
like
do.
a badass.
But like honestly, I think it's about time for us to like change Martian Manhunter officially and be like, he looks like this now. He's rad looking.
Yeah.
So anyway, he mentions to Jean the whole like bubble and the conspiracy, and that there's forces outside their control. And Jean's like, all right, I guess I don't quit. So meanwhile, Batman goes to Arkham to fight the Joker. Joker's got his gauntlets, and he's like, "Ha-ha!" And he immediately beats Batman and like holds him in like a telekinesis field. And he's like, "I gotcha." And then he's like, "Look, Batman, I was kind of hoping you brought Robin and Batgirl so I could kill them in front of you." And they're like, "Never fear, we're here anyway." And they save Batman. And Batman's freed. And then Joker's like, "Sweet." So then he takes Batgirl and Robin and then puts them in a telekinesis field and essentially like crushes them or rips them apart. Like he does nebulously horrible things to them that do result in their demise.
Oh no!
And uses other gauntlet to hold Batman still and keep his eyes open so he can watch them die.
Oh my God.
So this breaks Batman and he completely freaks out.
Yeah, that's fucked up.
Yeah, so he's just like inside his own head. So the Robin and Batgirl are dead.
Maybe you should have taken some help.
Yeah, maybe you should have asked anybody to come with you.
Jeez. All right.
Batman has failed colossally.
Yeah.
So while Batman is like freaking out over the demise of his surrogate family, Catwoman frees herself and attacks Joker and immediately gets beaten by Joker, but it's enough to allow Batman to grab a convenient piece of metal and break Joker's gauntlet, or at least disrupt one of the gauntlets, so that he can get the upper hand, and then destroys or at least damages the other gauntlet. So now Joker is forced to fight him hand to hand. Joker activates his anti-gravity belt, which we never see. It's like
under his clothes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so Batman grabs his foot and follows him, and they blast out the window out of Arkham in front of everybody, including news crews. And they go on a really dope-ass fight that results in Batman just snapping Joker's neck. Batman has completely lost it. But not in like a, if I kill one person, I kill every person kind of way.
No, it's just revenge for like Batgirl and Robin.
Well, like he is, it's almost like he's not even in his right mind right now. I just watched my surrogate children get murdered by this guy, and I'm fighting essentially for my life right now. But it results in a dope image of Batman like holding Joker's lifeless body amid the flames, because of course Arkham is still burning, and eventually explodes, and everyone inside dies.
Oh.
Except for Catwoman. No, Batman returns.
Because she's got 9 lives?
No, well, I mean, she might say that after she wakes up, but like essentially Batman returns to the Batcave, and Alfred's like, "Hey," because they assume Batman dies in the explosion.
Right.
Okay.
He was in there.
He was in there.
You got him on camera.
Exactly. So they're like, "Oh, Batman and all of his rogues died in the explosion, except for Joker, who was murdered by Batman on TV." And so Alfred is assuming that Batman's dead. Batman returns, and he's holding Catwoman, who needs medical attention. And Alfred's like, "Where are Batgirl and Robin?" He just says, "They're dead." And then he repeats, "Dead, dead, dead." And he's got this 1,000-yard stare on his face. Alfred actually says to Catwoman later, he's like Batman
went bye-bye.
Yes. After Batman drops off Catwoman and explains to Alfred in very minuscule detail the deaths of Batgirl and Robin, he just sits in a chair and stares off into the middle distance for the rest of this period. And Alfred's like, I think he may have only gotten home by instinct. Like muscle memory took him home. Like he wasn't actually actively trying to get here.
And he may still not be here.
Right.
Yeah.
So
yikes.
It's looking bad.
Jesus.
Adam is going to check out the Thinker, because the Thinker is a master strategist, as his name implies, and he's dead. He was murdered, but also like he was killed for stumbling upon a global conspiracy to discredit the heroes and destroy the metahumans.
I see.
So he's like, "Oh no," and that's that. It's a fun little Adam sequence.
Right.
And I don't mean that literally. He shrinks down, does his thing. So Lois goes to talk to Perry at WGBS, try and like quiet things down, or at the very least like get to the bottom of the heart of this metahuman debate.
Right.
And
who gave the Joker that superpower
where did he get this stuff? And Metamorpho, who's a member of the Outsiders, is attacking both Lex Luthor and Perry White. And I forgot to mention that Lex Luthor has an aide, a political aide, in the mayoral office, and it's none other than Jimmy Olsen.
What?
And in fact, Jimmy Olsen was being interviewed on Perry's TV program because Superman was never there to be his pal. And I think the implication here is that Jimmy's attracted to power.
I mean, that does why he become a TV show host.
That's true. Well, and what Davis likes to pull out is a couple of these like cute little like older stories about Jimmy. Jimmy used to get into all sorts of trouble, which was up to and including getting superpowers himself. And and Perry White showcases like the 3 different times, or at least 3 different times, that Jimmy got superpowers. Like one time he was like a fire-wielding devil character. Another time he was Turtle Boy.
One time he was able to take his thumb off of his hand like this.
Whoa! You are some sort of sorcerer. So the other time was when he was Elastic Lad and tried to join the Justice League. And the League is like, we don't really need a stretchy guy. If we did, we'd let Plastic Man or Elongated Man on the team.
Oh, yeah.
And
we don't even let them on.
And we don't even let them on, so we're not going to use a junior version of either of those things. It goes Plastic Man, Elongated Man,
and nobody.
And that's it. So yeah. So he's a little bitter about the
no
Justice
would
League
have
too.
sufficed. Jeez.
No, we needed you to understand why there was a no, and we want to be able to prevent any repeats.
Tell your friends.
Yeah. Disseminate this to the
What
rest of
happened
your
here today.
minorly powered
I know at
characters.
some point you're going to come back and be like, don't worry, Jimmy Olsen saved the day.
No.
We don't want it.
We don't need another Green Arrow situation. So Jimmy is helping out Lex Luthor. He's part of the crew because he's there. I wanted to explain that. So, Metamorpho becomes vapor and leaves. And so Lois is like, what's up with that? He was a hero. He was on the Outsiders, and he attacks you guys, the people who hate metahumans the most, out of nowhere for no reason. Like, that's kind of weird. Like, no, it's not no reason.
It's very Manchurian Candidate-ish.
We've been talking about these guys and how crappy they are forever.
See?
See? Look at this. And so
That's a little suspicious.
it's a little suspicious, and they're like, shut up. And so Jimmy mentions to Lois, because of their history, because they used to work together on the planet, that there is actually a, like, not secret, but clandestine facility in Smallville, Kansas, that is heading up metahuman research that maybe you might want to check out. And you know what? I've got the mayor's green light. I will, like, call ahead and let them know you're coming, and you can check it out for yourself.
Okay.
Aquaman has an adventure.
That sounds like you're going to get kidnapped and left in a bunker to die.
Nope. So Aquaman has an adventure in which he fights Ocean Master. It doesn't matter.
Look at all these fish and stuff he kills. It's horrible.
Yeah, Aquaman doesn't kill them.
No,
they're being killed by a big machine that Ocean Master's trying to destroy. Aquaman's like, whoa, Ocean Master, what are you doing attacking the surface thing? And Ocean Master's like, whoa.
No, look at all the
devastation. Like, you claim to run this place, and yet I don't see you half the time.
You're only here on the weekends.
Yeah, exactly. You're cavorting with your surface dwellers.
So it's a machine that just kills whales and stuff?
Yeah.
Just for no reason?
Well, it's almost like it's doing it deliberately to call out aquatic-based heroes or villains.
I see.
So then some dudes in, like, protective gear driving or piloting a subaquatic vehicle go and attack both Ocean Master and Aquaman, and I guess Mera by extension. And they're like, all right, get him. So Aquaman's off the table, and so we cut back in with Batman, and Batman's just sitting in his chair, and he's, like, freaking out. Meanwhile, they're watching, Alfred and Catwoman are watching the news reports about how bad things are, about Luthor being in the hospital. And Batman is visited by the spectral form, or seemingly the spectral form, of Robin.
Oh.
Who's like, hey man, you became Batman to avenge your parents, but what about justice for your partners? And he's like, Robin? And he reaches for him, and it's Catwoman dressed as Robin.
What?
And he's like, what are you doing?
Why would you do that?
Take it off!
She's like, it would, like, nothing was working. We need to snap you out of it. He's like, oh, you guys, just go away.
It's like, that's so fucked up.
I mean, listen, you're talking.
Duh.
Can't say it didn't work.
Fair.
And don't you want to see a female Robin? That's kind of fun.
Yeah.
She doesn't stay there. But, yeah, so he's like, nah.
This is Bucky all over again.
Take it off! I didn't tell you to wear it! So... he, they're like, come on. And he's like, no, you don't understand. Like, he made me watch. So Green Lantern is still, like, analyzing the bubble. He tries to use his energy on it. It absorbs his energy. He's like, that's weird. But when he blasts it with his ring and he sees that it absorbs energy, some of the energy from the lantern ring, like, encircles the energy that is being projected to make the bubble in the first place and creates a little trail.
Okay.
So he follows the trail, to a building and finds this like weird machine that is not powerful enough to actually create that energy field.
Okay.
And it explodes, and then he is attacked by two villains who are on the take, who force him out, and they're like, "It looks like you just blew up that building, Green Lantern. What an asshole you are." And since one of them's Count Vertigo, he's like, "I'm making you all freak out, and you can't use your ring on me." And he's like, "The ring doesn't work by sight, dipshit." So,
I can just tell it to find you.
yeah, and he closes his eyes and imagines punching him in the face, and does.
That's great.
It's like, thank you.
Who's Major Disaster?
Major Disaster's a bad guy.
I've never heard of these fucking people.
I mean, listen, we're not scraping the bottom of the barrel so much as we are spit shining a couple of forgotten characters that aren't oft used.
I see.
But listen,
Okay.
Major Disaster would be the guy to call if I needed to cause some pretty major disaster. So.
Right.
I think
Okay.
one of these superheroes might do us in their drawers.
He
What a
doesn't-
major disaster!
He's not like probability based. It's really what everybody's. It's like what everyone's interpretation of a disaster is. Like some people might imagine a building collapsing, and other people are just like, a major disaster would be that I'm on TV and I accidentally shit myself. That would be a major disaster. A major disaster, like, yeah.
I have
Works
to go
for
home.
me.
Enough
I can't
for me.
save anyone today.
Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna pack it all in. I have the constitution of Martian Manhunter, who literally got a little bit of bad attention, and now I quit forever. But he's back. Green Lantern interrogates Major Disaster and gets nothing because Major Disaster doesn't have strength augmentation. So he's like, I don't need my ring to beat the shit out of you, asshole. So he does, and then Major Disaster is like, blah, because he's obviously being controlled by some evil third party.
Yeah, mastermind of some sort.
Exactly, and so he just turns off, and the news is there, and they're like, "Whoa, shit!"
Oh, you're punching people?
Yeah.
Oh, you're just punching people now?
Oh, geez, and blowing up
And
buildings.
you blew up that building?
Yeah.
What?
I should also.
Any proof you blew up that building? What are you talking about?
Yeah, exactly. Well, but you went in, and then when you came out, the building exploded. So I forgot to mention the Doom Patrol were here, and they were also made to look like assholes and to be and be destroyed.
Wow.
Oh no.
Okay.
Oh. And they're in the book
Yeah,
too.
like,
and
this
they
is all-encompassing for DC.
Exactly. Superman affects DC in a pretty significant way, and I can see why Jeff Johns will write a story later on in which Superman is the linchpin of the DC universe and also perpetuates a Superman theory that suggests that there is some kind of conspiracy controlling metahumans.
Right.
Interesting and suspicious, you might say. So anyway.
Oh, and there's these weird soldiers.
Yeah, and those
take
weird
'em.
Doom soldiers are also the guys who are piloting the subaquatic machine.
thing.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So
So
that's the
it's all coming
conspiracy.
together.
Yeah.
It's the big conspiracy.
It's a conspiracy.
Yeah. We meet the Creeper, who is under lock and key and being observed by scientists. Lois Lane is being given the grand tour of this facility in Smallville, Kansas, which is clearly just capturing and using metahumans that they find or procure and experimenting on them in horrible ways. And Lois is like, that's kind of fucked up. And they're like, yeah, moving on. So we see a couple
of course,
fun,
the tour moves on.
Exactly, like screaming. Silver Banshee is there. Eclipso somehow is defeated by these randos, and the Creeper and Firestorm. And I'm like, these are characters you would not be able to defeat Firestorm. But okay. But listen, we did, and they're here.
I have control of atoms. I just, was taking a nap.
Yep. Someone punched me in the dick and then put me in a bubble. So that's that. But it's run by Dr. Hamilton, who is, of course, a Superman character who doesn't have the inspiration of Superman to not be a douche. So there's another doctor who works for this facility, and Dr. Lana Lang, who escorts Lois out.
What?
And Dr. Lana Lang is like, look, Lois, this place is pretty fucked up, but it was nice meeting you. And she shakes her hand, and when Lois leaves, she looks into her hand and sees there's like a business card that Lana snuck her that says, that she should go visit a pair of do-gooder philanthropic people named Jonathan and Martha Kent.
Apparently, they make organic produce there.
Yeah.
Organic for health.
Sure. And scrawled on the card, it says, the truth.
I feel like that's
Alright.
another supervillain.
It is not.
The truth.
The truth. Yeah, he's just got a big T on his face. That's Mr. Terrific. God damn it. Anyway, so there's this gorgeous buxom blonde that's being given a tour of LexCorp, or Lex Tower. LexCorp. And while that's happening, Metamorpho is unleashed, and he's wrecking everything. And the dude who's flirting with the blonde is like, hey, let's not leave. Let's watch this because let's watch that freak get what's coming to him.
Because that'll really get you going, I'm sure.
Exactly. And then she turns into Martian Manhunter and he's like, ew, I had a boner for an alien dude.
Yep.
That's right. Live with it. Remember.
Could you stay like that, maybe?
No. So then he leaves and goes and fights, or at least he's trying to get he's trying to shake down Metamorpho. He's like, dude, like we're heroes. We work together. What are you doing? And Metamorpho is like, I'm sorry, man. Like somebody took over my mind and forced me to do things I didn't want to do, and now I'm dead. And he melts.
Oh.
And Jean is pissed because he's like, this dude looked like that, and he still chose to be a hero. Like he was messed up. He was messed up, and that made him a hero. And
I learned a lesson today.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he doesn't really say that he looked like that, but like the fact is, he's like, this dude took the curse that was his abilities and turned it into heroism, and you melted him. Like, fuck all y'all.
Yeah.
So he goes nuts and just beats the crap out of all these like Doom warriors.
It's a shame he doesn't do it in his normal form.
I wish he did. That'd be a little more powerful, but also like Davis is like, look, I love the DC universe, and I want to draw motherfucking superheroes.
Right.
I want to draw Martian Manhunter how everyone sees Martian Manhunter normally.
Exactly. I should say that Jean does almost turn into his original form. He's so angry that he starts to change. And he's like, no! I guess he's just really that worried about appearances. No, I'm
like,
gonna look
no,
like...
I won't look like a monster to these people.
I'm not going to have you scream
people
because
I
of how
hate.
I look. I'm going to have you scream because of what I do to you.
That's right. So Lois goes to the Kents, and they're like, hey, come on.
What's up?
And they're the Underground Railroad for heroes and metahumans.
Ah.
Lois like, neat. You guys are neat.
You're going to be my next story.
Right. Yeah, no, please. Sorry.
Sorry, I tell the news.
Yeah. So Jean enters like a secret laboratory within LexCorp, and then he is blasted by Starro.
Bum,
Oh.
bum. Wow.
But there's a twist.
Okay.
So
So
a bunch
Starro
of,
sets him on fire, so he's dead, right?
no, he's just hurt really badly.
Is it Bistaro? Like a backwards Bistaro where like, you know, it
Yeah.
doesn't control the minds of other people, they control its mind?
You're not too far off. So let's take a hard detour from all of that superheroics to talk about some characters that would easily solve these problems, but don't, like Dr. Fate, or the Phantom Stranger, or the Spectre, and even Deadman is there. And they're all like, there's some messed up stuff. Etrigan the Demon is also there. They're all like, we should probably do something. And then Deadman's like, yeah, we absolutely should do some stuff. I'm a ghost, and I've been traveling around and watching what's going on, and it's messed up. Let's get going. And then the Spectre shows up, and he's like, shut up, no, you can't be in the book. That would change everything. We need Superman to save the day, or at least we need some kind of like we need the Justice League to save the day. So
They're
no.
like, who?
Yeah.
Your powers are too strange. You're not allowed.
You're
it
not
has to be
popular
brute
enough.
force. You have to be really strong
Yeah.
and invincible and stuff. That's okay, but
Or
not being able to like
pure of heart.
spiritually mess with people.
Right. It's like, look, this is a Justice League book. It's not about you nerds. So they're like, all right.
Oh, come on, we can help though.
No,
Yes, you could.
You definitely
but you
could.
Won't.
Listen, no, you would end the book already, but we're in the 3rd chapter, and really we could just show up, but it would be kind of cheap if we showed up in the 3rd act and just go like, hey, it's a bunch of magic-based characters. We should definitely save the day already, but we didn't, and here we are now. I'm not going to wrench the climax out of the hands of my heroes that I've been following the adventures of for the last 2 goddamn chapters. So stop it. So they don't.
Yeah. So basically, the argument that Spectre makes is that like humans have to fix this problem on their own
And
in order to earn their place in the universe.
Right,
or
and that drives
whatever.
me nuts every time. Where it's like, okay, Lord of the Rings, all right, like no, except for we'll let them use our wizard and some of our elves and all of our technology and all of our stuff. Like, look,
Yeah.
if you're a part of this world, Treebeard, you get to freaking help out, pitch in.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah,
until trees are hurt.
Your distinctions are arbitrary ultimately
Yes,
between you guys who can't help and
Yeah.
the other ones over there who can help
who are actively helping.
and are also aliens and stuff.
Right. Except none of them are aliens. They're all either
No.
magic-based or dead. And they always bring it up, and I love how every time the Spectre shows up and goes, you can't get involved, someone always points at him and goes, you were human once! And I'm like, I know.
Yeah, it's very hypocritical.
It
He's
is.
like, look, it pains me to do it.
Sorry.
So
I
what
answer
are-
to a higher power or something.
Well, yeah, he's
Yeah.
literally the hand of vengeance of God.
Yeah. I win.
Yeah.
Shut up.
Right?
We're talking capital G God.
Yeah.
That's it. Discussion over.
Sorry. I'm not. You know what? I'm not sorry. I speak for
I don't
God.
have to apologize to you.
Yeah.
Who are you? You're nothing.
Humans
You're-
have to
you're
figure
an
out their
ant.
own place in the world.
Yeah.
Except for that Martian and, you know, the Atlanteans, I guess.
Well, and any of the
Wonder Woman
aliens.
who's from Themyscira. And
Yeah, they're
this
kind
is
of
a
like
little
gods.
weird.
Yeah, you know what? It's getting kind of.
It falls apart. But God says so.
I gotta go. So Wonder Woman is on her like goodwill mission to the president at the White House, and she's trying to get to the president.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
She
there's
had,
a-
like, the boring mission.
Yeah, exactly. And she is in the waiting room, and like they're giving her the runaround. She's like, "When is the president gonna meet with me?" And they're like, "Oh, it's just gonna be another 5 minutes."
It's like,
Okay,
oh, Robin
it's been 3
and
days.
Batgirl were just murdered, and I'm just sitting here
Yeah.
waiting for you. Like, no.
Right?
When does she break down the fucking door?
Exactly. She doesn't.
I guess she doesn't know about
No,
that.
instead, she ends up talking to like Abby Arcane and Alec Holland,
Who are they?
Swamp Thing, and his wife.
Oh. And is he not Swamp Thing?
No, because somehow Superman prevented Alec Holland from dying in a swamp and becoming a monster. So Abby and Alec are part of the president / Luthor's scheme to subject the American public and eventually the whole world to biological scans that will test whether they are metahumans or not.
Does it test whether they could become metahumans?
It never gets that far.
Okay.
But I assume yes. Because if the Dominators can do it, then so can Swamp Thing. So they're like, so we're going to check. Oh, and it's done under the pretense of like, we're going to check to see if you're an alien. Because they're all big on the whole like xenophobia. Like, no. We're going for the aliens. That's the problem.
Right.
I think it'd be great if it was like, oh, we're just checking to see if everyone's healthy.
Yeah.
Look, if you're not an alien, you got
Nothing to worry about. And they're like, so you're going to actually submit first. And she's like, no.
No, I will not.
And she's just like this. She's like, she actually says something really awesome. She says that my mission was to promote justice and freedom for all, and I failed. And she leaves.
Oh, wow.
And then the White House explodes.
Boom. Oh, my God.
So Wonder Woman left, and the
Good
White
time
House
to get out of
explodes, and the news crews are like, "Oh my God, Wonder Woman had killed the president."
What did you
We're on this
do,
right
Wonder
now.
Woman?
Yep.
No. What?
Yeah, and the Metal Men are dispatched to attack her because
What?
we haven't gotten obscure enough. So here come the Metal Men. The Metal Men are a team of obscure DC heroes who are sentient constructs of a brilliant scientist who all have powers based on the element that they represent. And it's like, oh. And what's also weird is that like former publisher Dan DiDio was like really big into the Metal Men and pulled up Bill Jemas and like wrote the book himself and like kept that book alive just because he liked the Metal Men a lot. But the Metal Men fight Wonder Woman and she's like, we've fought together, Metal Men. I don't want to fight you, but I definitely will, and I'll definitely fuck up your day, which she does. And they're like, oh my God, like they're really, I don't know why I'm using the like 1920s equivalent of a camera, but like they're like, oh my God, Wonder Woman is killing the Metal Men. After killing the president, is there no shame? And then she is immediately punched in the face by what is known as a Legionnaire, a new construct of this universe, a robot built by Lex Luthor to keep the peace and, quell the metahuman alien problem.
Aha.
Is this all coming together for you?
Yeah.
Well, don't leave
like
the
a
people
sentinel.
hanging. It is like a sentinel, yeah. And the Legionnaire, of course, suspiciously looks like Superman. So,
Yeah.
Uh-oh. I like that when the Metal Men attack her, they say, by order of the Presidential Robot Task Force.
yeah,
Presidential Robot Task Force.
sure.
Why not?
There's Gorbachev right there on TV being like, the attempt on my life has left me scarred and deformed, but my resolve has never been stronger.
Wait, is Lex Luthor the president?
No, he's just
Oh.
the mayor of Metropolis.
Oh,
Yeah, but wasn't his building exploded too?
No, he was just attacked.
I see.
By
Okay.
Metamorpho.
But now he's talking about the president being murdered by Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to
He's
use
pulling Mayor Giuliani. He's like, I'm the most well-known mayor.
Yep.
So.
I'm America's mayor, and I am going to
Yeah.
pull some political clout on this one.
Yeah.
Well, not only that, but I somehow knew that Wonder Woman immediately attacked the White House.
Well, I
yeah,
have
somehow.
access to the news, and it showed
Same
me.
as you.
Yeah.
And,
I'm just reacting to me in real
right?
time like you are.
Green Lantern.
I
blow
certainly
the
didn't know
building.
that was going to happen in advance.
Yeah. Batman killed a murderous clown after blowing up an institution that was clearly failed, that was full of psychotic murderers in his own right.
And I know we're all on board for that one.
Yeah, but he's also a bad guy.
But he really should ask me first.
Well, and also he died too. We don't even have to worry about it.
Yeah.
So I'm dispatching my Legionnaire robots to protect us from the Justice League.
I see. And they're numbered 1, 2, 3, 4.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but coincidentally, one of them is missing. That way, when they beat all the robots, they're like, "Where's number 4 though?" Because it's a senior prank, like painting 4 pigs and counting them 1, 2, 3, 5, so that everyone's looking for pig number 4.
We're just brilliant.
Genius. Such a stupid joke. That's why it's staying in. So the Hawkwoman goes to like.
Oh yeah, Hawkwoman's in this book.
Yeah, Hawkwoman. Well, she's like, this sucks.
What was her mission?
After the meeting, she left with Aquaman, who's like, I'm going to the ocean, and she's like, I don't know what I should do. And he goes, listen, if I were you, I'd get on a spaceship and get the fuck out of here. She's like, are you telling me that I should like quit and leave? And he's like, I mean, I'm not saying that. So then she goes to the museum to see like a memorial for Carter Hall, and someone like graffitied it, called it alien scum on his like placard, and she's like, this place sucks.
Yeah.
God
Fuck
damn
this
it.
place.
So they also closed it down like that.
Yeah.
Wouldn't someone be cleaning that museum?
Unless the
Unless,
mayor ordered them to put it on there.
Yeah. And so she's like, all right. So she calls like the low orbit spaceship, which I guess was so low orbit that it was also caught between the fields so she can get to the ship. But she's in
she
for a
can't
rude
leave.
awakening when she tries to leave, but she won't, because when she calls her ship, she's about to leave, and she sees that there's a building on fire, and there's a family left in the flames, and so she's like, ah! So she jumps in and saves them, and then so there's a spectacular Alan Davis full-page splash where Hawkwoman saves this woman and her child, and she delivers them to.
And the woman and the child are like,
Alien
alien
scum!"
scum.
Yeah, no, they're actually
I'd
really
rather
cool.
perish in flames than be saved by you.
Yeah, no, they're not. This book wasn't written today, so
What's Hawkwoman doing? Is she gonna drop those people into the fire?
exactly.
Why would you murder those poor victims of the fire?
So when she lands, the whole community's there, and they're like, "This was arson. Somebody's trying to get rid of us. Like, this is a crappy place." And like, and the police show up, and they're like, "All right, hand over Hawkwoman." And they're like, "No, you're trying to save a woman with wings and saving a bunch of kids."
You
messed with
take
one
on
of
her.
us.
You take on all of us.
That's right.
Yeah, sweet.
This is Star City or wherever we are. So the people stand in front of her. She's like, "Don't do that. You don't have powers." And they're like, "So?"
Those cops will shoot you.
Right. And they're like, no, but like it's cool. And I love how like this could have been a moment where like the woman who was rescued by Hawkwoman could say, I thought you were bad like the rest of them, but like I see now. But instead she says, I never believed them to begin with. I always thought you were a hero, and now I'm even more sure that you're a hero.
Right.
And I'm like, all right.
Well, it's just like not everyone buys this fucking nonsense.
And I'm like, actually, that's really refreshing.
right.
But that's also like, that's probably what I was like. Oh no, I never believed them.
Yeah. All right. Look, as long as you're on my side now, that's all that matters.
Look, I don't care. I'm not judging you. Just be honest with me.
Exactly. So Batman is like now snapped out of it. Selina's gotten a shower because we need to make sure that was established. And
He's like, well, I didn't tell you to take the Robin suit off yet.
oh my god. Batman realizes like that the technology that was used by Joker is Kryptonian technology, and they're like, what is that?
What's a
Yeah,
Kryptonian?
we don't know what that
technology?
is.
And he's like, I know what that is because we've worked with aliens before, Thanagarians, who are familiar with Krypton because it only blew up like 24 years ago.
Right. Haven't you read the Thanagarian Encyclopedia of Alien Planets?
Well, didn't you read Cater Hall's like report? It's like, well, yeah, that's right. I'm talking to my butler and Catwoman. Literally, no one in here has read the report. No one here is a Justice Leaguer but me. So,
Well, like, yeah, why would I have read the report?
What?
well, no, there's no report. So but he's putting it all together.
Yeah.
And then Alfred turns on the TV, and everyone's arrested. Aquaman, Martian Manhunter, who's now an alien, like
Right.
looking like an alien. Wonder Woman. They're all under
They're
arrest.
all beaten by Sentinels. This one's 27, not Sentinels.
Yeah, no,
The Sentinel-like thing.
Legionnaires.
Legionnaires. This is 27. There's at least
There's a
27
lot
of
of
these
them.
things.
There's a ton.
Jeez.
Yeah, they've been busy bees. So Batman's like, I gotta go, and I gotta go alone. And Selina's like, last time you did that, like Robin and Batgirl got killed, like maybe. And he's like, no, but like they got involved. I failed them. And she's like, no, like they knew what they were doing. They jumped into it. Like, it's, you know, he's like, they make out, and then they're gonna team up. Right. Yay. Green Lantern goes to rescue his comrades in the facility in Kansas, and he is engaged by Legionnaires. Yeah. And of course, don't worry, it's okay to kill them because they're robots, Morty.
Oh, why are they screaming?
It's a figure of speech. They're bureaucrats. I don't respect them. So he fights them, and he rips the like face mask off of one of them, revealing that they're Bizarro clones that are being controlled.
Not what I thought.
No, they are not robots. They are Bizarros, but you see how you were kind of on the right trail with the Bizarros?
They're Bizarros. Are they from the Bizarro universe?
No. We're going with Superman the Animated Series rules, where Bizarro is a failed clone by Lex Luthor to make Superman.
Oh, okay.
So Lois,
and they're being controlled.
Yes.
So is a Bizarro just what happens when you try to clone Superman?
Sometimes, if you're doing it wrong, or or you're only working with Kryptonian DNA, like the DNA they found in the rocket ship in Kansas that didn't have a baby in it. It just had traces of DNA in it.
Oh.
Yeah, that's right. Kal-El was eaten by raccoons. No.
Oh, what a twist.
How would they have gotten through his skin?
Well, his baby. He didn't yet have
He didn't absorb enough yellow radiation.
Yeah.
So Lois goes to...
I thought...
Imagine that was the story. Like, just a bunch of raccoons absconded with an infant.
What?
Or
Raccoons wouldn't do that? Oh, they'll eat anything.
Oh, no. They're trash pandas. They will wreck you.
They don't work.
They got little thumbs. One of them jumped into the ship and flew it around for a little while.
I thought it was going to be the Bottle City of Kandor piloting mech suits.
What? Oh, like little Kandorians?
In little Kandorians in a giant Superman suit.
That's a fun idea.
And like, how do they make it fly? Well, they're from Kandor. They make it fly.
Right, exactly. Like it's form-fitting. Yeah. It's like an exosuit.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of fun.
Are Kandorians really strong? Like strong enough to lift like a
I think it's proportionate.
Human-sized thing?
Yeah, I think it's proportionate. Like, so, you know,
well, if
they have Superman strength, but this big.
Right.
You know?
But if Superman can lift like a building,
right, then
a Kandorian could lift like this radiator.
Yeah.
Or something human-sized.
Right,
maybe.
like a safe.
Yeah.
You know, it's strong, but not super strong.
For them.
They've done it. Yeah, they did a story where they got them big and they took over.
Well, yeah, but I mean, as little ants running around like.
Frank Miller did it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're pretty strong.
Okay.
And they all jump into. It doesn't matter. So Lois is like, I'm gonna bust this case wide open. I want to talk to Lex Luthor. Jimmy, and she pulls out a gun. She's like, Jimmy, don't fuck with me.
Oh my God, what?
Yeah, all bets are off.
She's like, all right,
that's enough.
I'm not letting my country turn into a fascist dictatorship.
Well, you understand, I live in Metropolis. I need this gun.
She's like, well, that's true. No, she doesn't because it's a utopia. But she's like, no, I just left like the Gestapo genetic camp.
Yeah, I see what we're doing here.
I see where this is going, and I want to talk to Lex Luthor, and you're gonna let me in. And he's like, all right. So Jimmy lets them into Lex Luthor's office, and Lex is just sitting there at his desk, drooling and comatose. And then she is attacked by Starro, but it's not Starro. It is a genetic modification of Starro and Krypto, the dog from Krypton.
What?
So it attacks her, and she like shoots the dog, Starro, and Jimmy's like, no, don't shoot him. I'll call him off.
It's a good boy.
What?
I promise.
Exactly. And
you know about this thing?
Oh yeah. I've been working with him the whole time. I've been working with Lex Luthor the whole time, you know?
This is going crazy.
It goes more bonkers. So Flash ends up in the superhuman facility. You know, he vibrators molecules like we talked about earlier.
Right.
Adam got in another way because he's small.
Right.
And he's like, hey.
I just rode in on the Flash.
He's like, hey, why did it take so long? No, he came in through like the ducts.
Oh, okay.
Because he's tiny. But they go to free the rest of the heroes, and they are engaged by Legionnaire Bizarro clone robots. They're not really robots, but you know, they were called robots.
Bizarro clones.
Yeah. And you're like, yeah.
How does one of these things grab Flash? Number 73.
They are using Superman's DNA, so
I guess
technically they're kind of fast. Yeah, exactly. And they got the drop on him.
I guess.
You can still surprise me. He is a man. You know,
Yeah.
if he talks to us, he's not like living in a perpetual state of slowness.
Right.
He's
He wasn't
waiting for us to
thinking to
finish a
go
goddamn
fast.
thought.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the Legionnaire is going to kill Flash, but then it is blasted by a Kryptonian beam, wielded by Batman and Batwoman,
Oh.
who was Catwoman but is now wearing a like Golden Age Batwoman costume.
When you
Oh,
say
that's fun.
Kryptonian beam,
It's the Joker gauntlets. Batman took the Joker gauntlets, repaired them, and then gave one to her and one to him, and is using the very instrument that murdered his family to, exact justice.
really, I kind of feel like he'd be very anti-gauntlet after this.
Well, he's not a child.
That's right. No, Batman.
He's able to form his like moral opinions about this technology
Well,
from the perspective of a grown
plus,
man.
like, I killed Joker. You know, like,
Yeah, all bets are off.
it's fine.
I would use a gun too, but it wouldn't do anything.
Yeah, I gotta. It's super crime. So he's shooting these Legionnaires, and more of them are on the way.
Right.
And so
There's at least 73 of them, so
exactly.
that's
So
insane.
as you're reading these numbers, so Batman is like, "Look, Flash, it's just me and Catwoman blasting stuff. You gotta free the heroes."
Right.
So he does.
Catwoman's been a Robin this whole time?
Well, she's Batwoman now. No.
No.
Yeah, what? So, oh, good. Batgirl didn't die.
Oh.
So Jimmy like cradles.
Why when he asks Flash to go like rescue the heroes, how come Flash didn't say like, I just did?
Because he's not that fast.
Now it's okay that Gordon died.
Yeah.
But so did Barbara.
Ah, they can be together now.
Oh.
There we go. All right. It's dark. So Jimmy embraces his dog alien monster, and he's explaining that like the crypto hybrid is actually part of a continual hybridization program that Lex Luthor spearheaded when he and his company discovered the alien rocket ship and the DNA traces that were within, and used it he used his money, influence, and power over like the Daily Planet and so forth to keep everything out of the press so that nobody would know about his procurement of the rocket ship and his reverse engineering of Kryptonian technology to propel Metropolis into a state of utopia and allow him to gain his fortune further by inventing iPods like 10 years earlier and so forth. So he's, and Jimmy was along for the ride. But he wasn't done with just, running the city or trying to become president or whatever. Instead, he wanted to really get himself superpowers because he was deeply resentful of all these metahumans. And
Because at the end of the day, when he sees Superman fly, he just wants to fly too.
of course, like everybody. But there is no Superman, and he didn't see him fly, but he did know that there was the potential for powers in flight, and so he started using the DNA recovered from the rocket ship to start his hybrid program, which resulted in creepy, gross Bizarro clones. And he's like, this isn't working. I mean, it is in as much as I'm making pale reflections of Superman, because they look like Clark, basically, because
Right.
they're his DNA. And they...
Except for Crypto, apparently.
The Crypto was a dog merged with Starro DNA, or just a dog that was messed up, and by the way, it dies. It just disintegrates.
Aww.
Yeah, it's really sad. So Lex is making these hybrids, and he realizes that it's not safe for him to merge DNA with himself yet. He needed another human guinea pig, and he knew that I had experience with having my genetics mucked with, having become Turtle Boy and Elastic Lad and whatnot. So he made me patient zero for his hybrid program.
Oh.
And unlike the Pizarro clones, which presumably are people or just clones, I don't remember if they're humans that...
It's
I think
just
they're failed experiments that Lex made.
It's just the DNA from the pod,
Yes.
With no
extrapolated
combination.
to not combined with another
With
person.
anybody else.
That's all you can get from that.
Yes. And that's disappointing.
But he wanted to merge it with
himself.
With himself.
It's kind of weird that Jimmy still became Turtle Boy and Elastic Lad.
Yeah,
without
despite the fact
Superman.
that he wasn't on any Superman adventures. That's just
Yeah.
what a magnet for trouble Jimmy Olsen is.
So you have to go back and read those books where that happens to see if Superman has anything to do with it.
Yeah. Jimmy reveals all of this to Lois while Crypto, falls apart.
Yeah.
And then reveals that, because of his genetic modifications that have taken place over the years, it did take to the Kryptonian DNA, and so he is super, and he is actually the mastermind behind everything and been controlling Lex Luthor using his Lex's own mind control technology and the Kryptonian technology that he believes he's entitled to because Jimmy is technically part Kryptonian because of the hybridization of the Kryptonian DNA.
Oh my God.
Yeah!
That's
So
insane.
Jimmy's the bad guy.
Okay. Yikes.
Yeah.
That is. I don't know how I feel about that.
Right?
I feel like Jimmy Olsen would not become a supervillain.
Well, maybe if like
without the influence of Superman, he's a monster.
Right? Remember, he's I think
he's
it's
power
like,
hungry.
He's attracted to power. You know, he's like Smee with Captain Hook. He's just an opportunist.
I feel like that's a thing that people project onto him because of his role in Superman comics.
Yes. Well, no, I'm not.
Does it just burn him that he's
he doesn't have powers? He's
always
second
living
banana.
in Superman's shadow?
Yeah. No.
No. Why? What?
What? That's like that's the human being real equivalent of just knowing someone with any modicum of power or wealth.
Yeah.
And just being like, I secretly want to kill them.
Yeah, that's what
be
everyone wants
them.
to do, right?
Right? Like, no, you're a psycho.
You just can't be happy that you're friends with them?
Yeah. So Jimmy grabs Lois and then jumps out the window and reveals that he can fly, which of course is scary and crazy because like only Martians can fly and stuff, or people with wings.
Right.
So he flies away with Lois, and you're like, oh no! Oh, and he also changes his outfit to look like the John Byrne redefinition of what Kryptonian clothing looks like, and so you know that's what he looks like.
How do you find out what Kryptonian clothing looked like?
Because he is part Kryptonian.
There are blueprints in the
It's part of the DNA.
spaceship.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. Yeah.
I was gonna say it's just genetic memory.
Some
Right?
part of Krypton
You're-
printed onto him.
Ben's idea makes actually more
there we
sense.
go. All right.
Wow, Ben had an idea that made more sense than yours. What happened?
Oh God!
I don't know.
This whole thing is
Bizarre
bizarre.
Oh no! I'm scared.
Me too.
You know, a big fight breaks out as the heroes are freed, and you know they're winning. Oh, Green Lantern had like a shield around him, and one of the Legionnaires like punched him in the arm and broke his arm through the shield. So it's it's dangerous stuff.
Yeah.
So the fight breaks out, and it's huge and crazy, and it ends up outside, and it's like just becoming this big Katamari ball of chaos and trouble. And then Jimmy shows up and engages the heroes and starts punching them.
And now it's like they're fighting Superman.
Exactly.
Who could take on all of them at
Right,
once.
exactly. And of course, where are they? They're in Smallville, Kansas, so like there's open plains, there's room.
Right.
So they're fighting, and Wonder Woman finally arrives, and she like grabs Jimmy, and she's like, "All right, it's time for me to beat the living hell out of you." And she does, and then he gets the upper hand, and Green Lantern encases him in a Green Lantern ball. But then he, of course, like frees himself, and then kicks him in the ass, and then
At some point, is Green Lantern going to run out of power like he was worried about?
right, no, but he does get really, really close to doing that. So Batman and Batwoman, Catwoman, attack Jimmy. Batwoman
With gauntlets?
that are Kryptonian technology. Of course, it doesn't work. And he's like, "What are you kidding me? I gave Joker that technology. Like
I wouldn't give him something that he could use on me.
exactly." Like Lex and I facilitated the conspiracy and armed your villains to create those situations, and manipulated Major Disaster and Count Vertigo and so forth. So Jimmy grabs Batwoman in a similar situation to the Batgirl Robin situation. Batman's like, "I will kill you before I let you do another traumatic moment in front of me." And Jimmy smashes the gauntlet and engages Batman. And he's like, "Now you're just a guy." And Batman's like punching at him, desperately trying to stop him. And then one of the blows lands because Green Lantern, who has been laid out, projects his power around Batman. So Batman has the strength of whatever power's left from the Green Lantern ring. So now he can punch Jimmy.
Nice.
But it is draining Hal, and it's like hurting him. And
Right.
so he's like, ah. And so their fight breaks into a barn where now Jimmy has the upper hand, and he's beating the hell out of Batman until a Amish man appears and goes, "I think that's enough English." And he's like, "What, are you kidding me?" And so Jimmy blasts him with his heat vision, blowing off all of his Amish accoutrements, including his beard, revealing him to be Kal-El.
He was raised by Amish.
Yes. He was recovered by a horse and buggy.
Okay.
So he's just like, you don't need powers, and if you have them,
That's bad for you.
yeah, God doesn't want that.
Keep that under wraps.
Yeah, exactly. Unless you want to help us build bonds. So
You can put up a bond in a day. This will be perfect.
So his parents are there, his Amish parents, and they're like, "Hey, God says don't get involved. Don't get involved in worldly affairs." And he's like, "I can't listen to God anymore. Okay, I gotta do something. Look at this. It's pandemonium out there." And then Jimmy's like, "You're the baby from the pod. Like we're basically brothers, you and I. Like we're from the same cloth." And he's like, "No, we're not, man. Like that was my pod. I'm actually Kryptonian. You're a freak who's killing everybody." And he's like, "Oh yeah?" And then he heat beams both of his Amish parents, and so they die.
Oh crap!
He's like, there, now you have no earthly attachments, so you and I can be like the full Kryptonians we need to be and take over this world. And he's like, no, I'm gonna fight you now as Superman.
That's insanity.
I know.
Like, he was on the fence about stopping you.
Well, no, he was not. No, he was like, hey, mom and dad, like, shut up.
But his parents were like trying
at
to
least in some way. Well, they
hold
had
him
been
back.
in Denville for 24 years.
Right. That's not a good plan on Jimmy's part.
No, but it does allow the book to end faster.
Right.
So, Superman fights Jimmy.
Yeah, it really
What if I
instigates a
murder
fight.
your parents? Will you join me then?
Ask Batman how that works out.
Oh yeah, no, I invite Joe Chill over for tea every Sunday.
That's right. So Superman, or Kal-El, as he is called, because Jimmy, like, I guess, listened to the report in the pod or something.
Right.
I love that, like, the Kents pile in their island of misfit toys into the Studebaker and drive it to the general problems. And they're like, we gotta see what's going on over here.
Maybe one of you can help.
Maybe we can help. You know. So
Yeah.
they get there, and essentially what happens is Superman beats the Kryptonian out of Jimmy, but not really. It's more like Jimmy's like I guess I used my powers so much and to such a high degree that I wore out the hybridization protocol. Like,
Because I'm only like half Kryptonian.
exactly. Like
Right.
it was a failed experiment.
Right.
Just because it worked on me because I was already mutated doesn't mean that it was going to work forever. So he starts to fall apart, and then he eventually disintegrates.
Huh. So he defeats himself.
Yeah, he
Sort
wears
of,
himself out.
Yeah. He wears himself out punching someone who is as strong as him.
Stronger.
Stronger.
So
Wow.
now Kal is alone in the world, and he's surrounded by the heroes that he failed to inspire because he didn't exist until now. And the Kents arrive with all the heroes, and the Green Lantern Corps shows up. They're like, dude, you should have read that insane war that we were a part of. It was sick.
Apocalypse and New Genesis, my God.
man.
And the Green Lantern Corps caught in the middle. Like, it was nuts. And let me tell you something. All you need to know is that we won. And now we're here.
How'd you do?
Basically that. And so, you know, Kal is like sad and mourning the loss of his parents. And Superman's like,
Oh, what a bummer. We came here to host an intergalactic kicker.
oh, really? I heard that was not what we're here to do. And so Lois writes like a,
Hey, Mullet, you're on the team.
you're up.
You just got drafted.
That's right. Into a war. Get in this Robin suit.
Exactly. I was hoping that would happen.
No, I thought like maybe Batman would be like, all right, I'll train him and then we'll unleash him on the world. No, while Superman like cries over the burnt corpses of his Amish parents, Jonathan and Martha Kent like go to him and embrace him and take him in, and so they de facto become his adoptive parents.
Oh.
And so we see like, and Lois explains that like, you know, through narration or expose that she writes, that you know, this is where we go from here, and that like, you know, this is the starting point of a new era for heroism and for Superman. Batman quits the League. He's like, I am a liability.
Yeah.
You know, out of everybody who got caught up by the conspiracy, only one of you murdered someone on camera and actually did it.
Right.
And it was me.
And got 2 children killed.
So maybe I should go.
Maybe I should back away.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter because you got Superman now. You don't need me.
Yeah. And now I got Catwoman.
Yeah.
We're gonna
And that's
we're
right.
gonna shack up now.
Yeah.
She's
She's moving in. We're gonna get together and we're gonna.
Well, yeah, I don't have to worry about any more villains in Gotham.
That's right.
They're all dead.
Oh, yeah.
Now, yeah, that's right. So all the villainy is like purse snatchers and like muggings and stuff, which is like, I could do that.
That's easy.
I've been doing that. I've been doing that
Hell.
on top of Penguin stuff.
Hell, I could just fund the police.
Oh my God.
They can do their job now.
Yeah.
Commissioner Wayne.
Oh, I like the sound of that. Oh no, he also gives himself up. Like Batman gives himself up to the police and atones for his crimes. Like they're like, he was Joker, you're fine. He doesn't even go to jail. Oh.
Huh.
Yeah.
Because the courts ruled the death was an act of war.
Yes.
So I guess they just let him off.
Yeah, they do.
Like, well, you're a soldier, so it's not murder.
That's right. They didn't do the Joker defense where it was the Joker.
Yeah, we tried to search the the annals of legal history for and it was the Joker defense.
Yeah.
There isn't one,
it
so
doesn't
we
exist,
had
sorry.
to make up.
We had
that
to
it
make
was a
up something
war.
about war.
Yeah.
But
He
Thank
was the
you.
Joker.
But
You know, off the record.
Yeah, off the
the
record, here's your
reason
trophy.
that you're not going to jail is because he was the fucking.
because he was the Joker, and you did us all a favor. So, Superman joins the Justice League.
You couldn't do temporary insanity. I just
Right.
saw
My
two
surrogate children.
families
You absolutely
die.
could.
Yeah. Yeah. No.
Yeah.
They want to ramp up the war thing.
Yeah.
And at the end, we see the wreckage, from all the barns that were blown up and stuff. And in one of them, through one of them, is a nail.
Is it the nail?
I doubt that they reused the nail from 25 years ago.
Like he pulled out of the tire and used
and
it
then
to
used it and to build a barn.
to build the barn.
You know, Jonathan
it's-
Kent is resourceful. Maybe he did.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's not his barn.
No, it's those Amish people's barn.
Interesting. So if Superman had never been raised by the Kents,
He would eventually
he would still become Superman
and would be raised by the
and
Kents.
would be raised by the Kents,
But
or
only
at
in,
least
the
be
second-
their son.
Yeah.
In some way.
That's right. That's right. And so that is JLA the Nail. It's just this really kind of fun, ridiculous, expansive love letter to the DC universe. And the only thing that's better than the Nail is another
cover?
nail.
What?
There's a sequel to this,
What?
and it's called Justice League Another Nail.
It's called Justice League. The Screw.
Another
Oh.
nail?
Another nail.
Is it? Is it
it's
a
not this-
continuation of this?
Yes.
Okay.
okay.
Yes.
But it's not okay. So the nail. What is the second nail?
What is the second
It's
nail?
just what this world is afterwards, I guess.
Yeah, this is the Nail universe. It's not well, and then we catch up to current continuity, but then there's a
change
nail
something
that's
else?
in Bane's tire, and so Nightfall never happens. No.
That'd be such a lamer
Oh, no.
continuation of this.
These weird sentient nails that change history. You will not believe if we get to do another nail, what they do with Green Arrow.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's right. He's frothing at the mouth. Was he
Yeah.
mind controlled? Is that why he's
No,
like
he's
that?
just a dick.
What?
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
But they established
he's
that
just
Jimmy's
really
using
bitter.
mind control.
Yeah, on selective people. We didn't need
But
it.
not him.
Look, there's some people who are just true believers.
Yeah,
Look,
his
he
mind
lost
just
his
snapped.
arms and legs.
He's really bitter. He's just
Yeah.
a mad, angry person.
He just gave up everything that he was because he got beat real bad.
No, he lost everything he was.
Right.
He was mad and resentful that nobody saved him.
Right. I mean, I'm sure they would have if they could have. It was
yeah.
look, it was a hard fight.
Yeah.
You know,
We lost
We didn't have a
Hawkman.
Superman. Yeah, Hawkman died, man.
Yeah.
Get over
Then we found out the
yourself.
Flash could have beaten him in a second. Yeah, no, it's
Yeah, what were you doing, Flash? Just
Look,
thinking about something else.
I was delegating. I'm working on a team here. It's not just if it's the solo Flash show, I come up with ideas that I normally wouldn't use.
You gotta understand, sometimes I just take mini naps in my head.
Yeah, I've been sleeping the equivalent of 11 and a half years during this 4-minute fight.
I gotta catch up somehow.
Yeah. Hypersleep. Anyway, we'll see you guys next time with another episode. If you want to get a copy, it's hopefully in the comments. They usually make this available. I think there's a deluxe edition out there that's really dope. So check that out, and we'll see you guys next time. I'm Sal.
I'm Ethan.
I'm Ben.
Keep reading.
They should double this with a nail and another nail.
I think they do normally. But I didn't want you to skip ahead and then go well, what was this? And it's
I don't know.
The next one should be called when all you have is hammers.
everything.
Every-
The whole world looks like a nail.
Yeah, or something. I don't know.
Well, I
Some
wish
kind of
there was
play on
another.
words.
They should call the third one a third nail.
Third nail. We've moved on to screws.